Vibes through the roof, baby. That is good stuff right there. LMFAO on Mix 94.1. Billy Beebe in the studio. Billy, you're vibing over there. You
Good.
Living
So
that
good.
LMFAO life, right?
Dude, time capsule song. That song was everywhere. The hits for the squad, they had multiple hits there. LMFAO, is that right?
Yeah, LMFAO, dude.
So
good
good.
stuff.
So
It's
good.
a party every time. And unfortunately, Billy, I'm going to have to bring things down
Party's
quickly.
canceled.
The party is canceled, at least when it comes to the Cleveland Browns. Dude, it was huge, and I mean huge news yesterday. Myles Garrett requesting a trade from the Cleveland Browns. As our insider, as our expert, give us some insight for the Orange and Brown Nation.
Well, first things first, I told you this morning, Matt. Anybody who says they were not surprised, I wasn't surprised, wrong. 2 weeks ago, the Browns said they would not be trading Myles Garrett. And 2 weeks later, on a Monday at 11 a.m., he puts out a written and prepared statement from the desk of Myles Garrett.
He's got that stationary.
I want to leave. Let me go. Very surprising. I'm sorry. Very surprising. Look, I have given this take here. I have given this take as many places as I can give it. The NFL is the fastest place you can turn a team around.
Okay.
So Washington Commanders are the perfect example, right? They have the number 2 pick in the draft, not looking good, just looking like next thing you know, NFC title game.
Okay.
They flipped around. Now they landed a quarterback, most important position in football, of course. Easier said than done for the Browns, but this gave me hope that the Browns were going to just rejuvenate things and they were going to find a way to make things happen next year. Apparently, whatever plan was presented to Myles Garrett was not appreciated and not absorbed well. I think there's a lot that goes into this. I really do. I think, I understand. I definitely understand for Myles Garrett. I understand the situation for him. I do want to remind people he wanted Baker Mayfield out also. He requested Baker Mayfield be traded. So, he's not to unblame for this. He, like a lot of people, like most people, and I think the fan base is just at a tough point today, Matt, where I think it's just a moment in time where people are reacting, and I definitely understand it. I saw some gruesome tweets yesterday.
Oh, no doubt about it. And I mean, Browns fans in general are fed up. And I mean, they live in a state of being fed up. But at this point in particular, I feel like coming out of the season is the season from hell that you described it as. Watching, through that season, Baker, perform well. Watching Kareem Hunt be in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Watching all of these dudes who were once a Cleveland Brown step into a different role. It's frustrating. And, you talk about it not being surprising. I think people were surprised, but I think people understood. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I think that's what it comes down to is you can understand why Myles Garrett feels the way it does. And that's a bad place for a fan base to be, in my opinion. We're not even mad at the guy for wanting to leave. We all get it. That's how dysfunctional things are. That's how bad things are. And at this point, Billy, I have to know, where is the accountability in this? Because whether the Browns trade Myles Garrett or not, and I think that's a point that we need to drive home, is that they might not. They might say, no, dude, you can request a trade all you want to. We're not going to do it. But he wants out. And he wants out. And we wasted Nick Chubb's career. And we gave up 3 first-round draft picks, and all of those things go back to the general manager, Andrew Berry, the guy who makes the decisions, the guy who's hey, this is my desk, and I want to get at Jimmy Haslam too, but when it comes to football, that's the guy, is Andrew Berry, and this dude still has a job. We're still looking at him as hey, he can be the one that gets us out of this. When does there some accountability? When is there something that happens here?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I'm going to push back on one thing. Nobody's career is wasted here.
Okay.
I mean, people play in the NFL and don't win things.
Okay.
It happens.
Okay.
A lot of players don't win things. The Browns have been to the playoffs twice. They wasted Joe Thomas's career. Okay, he never made the playoffs. He won. He was over 500 once in his rookie year. That was a wasted career.
Second biggest loser in the NFL Hall of Fame, in the Pro Football Hall of
Understood.
Fame. I've done the math. Joe Thomas walked into the Pro Football Hall of Fame as the second worst winning record of anybody that's in there, and that's insane. And it just feels like
his career was wasted.
Okay, but
now you say Nick Chubb's career was wasted. Well, they got him a quarterback. They traded for Odell Beckham. They made the playoffs twice with Nick Chubb. Now, he wasn't there the second time, but they didn't make it. They found him the head coach, the 2-time coach of the year. They did things to make his career better. They did things to do that.
I'll make room for that, but I still, at the same time, none of that translated
so, then
into...
I look at other teams, right? The Steelers. TJ Watt has never won a playoff game. I have never in my life heard the Steelers have wasted TJ Watt's career. But he's never won a playoff game.
I would say that they have.
Myles
right?
Garrett's won a playoff game.
I would say that TJ Watt has wasted his career then. If you're looking at it from the perspective of you're really trying to get to the position where you're going to be in a Super Bowl contender, and I think that's what all NFL dudes are trying to do, and obviously that's what Myles Garrett is trying to do. I think from his perspective, you are saying, yes, that this 8 years that I've put forth, this time that I've put forth, it has been a waste because it hasn't gotten me to where that I wanted to be. I didn't want to just make it to the NFL. I didn't want to go to Cleveland, from Cleveland to Canton. I want to get a Super Bowl stop in there, and until that happens, I don't know. It's always going to be a little bit of like, well, I mean, you didn't, and not even that the Super Bowl championship has to be the end result, but I mean, you haven't even you got a two playoff win. That's what it's like. All right, well, that career was worth it.
I agree with you. Super Bowl is the ultimate goal, right? A guy of his caliber should want a Super Bowl. Clearly, he does. He is requesting out.
Sure.
I just, in my head, personally, I think there's a lot of great NFL players that have historic careers, that are Hall of Famers, that are well recognized, that a Super Bowl is just not part of their destiny, and that I don't consider their career wasted. I just think they didn't get a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree. Dan Marino didn't waste his career.
Marino, I'll give you J.J. Watt. Nobody has ever said J.J. Watt. His career was not wasted. He went into the playoffs 5 times with Ryan Mallett and Brian Hoyer, and nobody ever said the Texans wasted his career.
But let's look at the Texans in that era, and let's look at the Dolphins in that era and compare it to the Browns. The results aren't there. We're coming off of the season from hell where our best player says, I desperately want to get out of here.
Sure.
It just feels like for the Orange and Brown Nation, these are dire times. This is not good.
I will not disagree with you there. I won't disagree. It's a mess. Things are not good. I've just that statement, which is one of the statements I've seen multiple times, is not something I'll buy into. Another statement I saw yesterday, things are dramatized. Things are not good. I saw a guy tweet yesterday, these past 3 years are worse than 0-31. That is incorrect. Or 1-31. You went to the playoffs last year. You had fun watching Joe Flacco. To just act like that didn't happen is victim of the moment, right? Isn't that what they call it?
Yeah, no. I think that's a good point.
I saw yesterday somebody said Baker Mayfield would never do this to us. Baker Mayfield requested a trade. It happened.
I was going to say that's not true.
Which is just proof a lot of people are living in the moment, which I respect. I absolutely respect. The moment can be so gripping and so terrifying, and especially in sports, can consume you. I just would encourage you to try and look big picture. And I will say, Matt, you asked me this morning. There's a chance this just doesn't get done. There's so many factors into it. Where does Myles want to go? Where do the Browns want to send him? What's being offered for him? And what's the timeline? You basically have to get all this done by April. I'm guessing Myles Garrett has 4 teams he'd like to go to. If it's more than that, we have a real issue. Because if he wants more than 4 teams, then I don't think he actually cares about...
He just wants to get out.
Yeah. Like he says about winning and being on the main stage. Okay, you're going to be on the main stage playing for the Vikings? I don't think so. So, lot to decide, and you have till April because the Browns are going to want draft picks, and they want to make that draft pick. So the draft is in April. They'll have to get it done by then.
The dysfunction of the Cleveland Browns, not the only story in the NFL. Obviously, pretty big game coming up. And you know, as we prepare for the Super Bowl, Travis Kelce recently talking to the media. I'm going to play this audio, and we're going to get Billy's insight on it next on Mix 94.1.
If I could ask the media one question, why are you guys leaning into this whole ref thing?